The biggest trade of the season just went down. Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. Everyone knows that the Panthers are tearing it down. They're 1-5 and just fired Matt Rule. It's a fire sale in Carolina, and everyone expected McCaffrey to be a hot topic, and it didn't take very long for him to get shipped off to San Francisco. The Panthers wanted multiple firsts. Instead, they've settled for a bunch of later picks. The reasoning for Carolina trading away McCaffrey is simple. The Panthers are going to be bad for a long time and may as well get some value for one of their best players. For the 49ers, it's a bit more complicated. But to put it simply, the 49ers believe they have what it takes to win a Super Bowl this year. As for McCaffrey, he has the chance to be on a winning football team for the first time since 2017, when the Carolina Panthers went 11-5. Plus, McCaffrey landing with the 49ers is almost like a homecoming for him. He played college ball at Stanford, and now McCaffrey gets to return to the Bay Area. Not to mention, everything has really come full circle for the McCaffrey family now. Ed McCaffrey, his dad, a wide receiver, played for the 49ers under Mike Shanahan as his offensive coordinator. Now, Christian McCaffrey is playing in San Francisco for his son, Kyle Shanahan. The question now becomes, does Christian McCaffrey still have it? Injuries have been the story when it comes to McCaffrey over the last couple of seasons. He's missed 23 of 33 games over the last 2 years alone. All that after not dealing with injuries at all for his first bit in the league. He was a man on a mission in 2019. He became only the third player in NFL history to have over 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. McCaffrey already this year has 670 total yards, 393 of those coming from rushing and 277 of those receiving. The 49ers traded away second, third, fourth, and fifth round picks to the Panthers in exchange for Christian McCaffrey. Not quite the multiple first rounders that Carolina said they wanted, but only an idiot would trade a bunch of firsts for McCaffrey. And once Dan Snyder didn't call, the Panthers decided to make a deal with San Francisco. The 49ers likely were in a pretty good spot to trade away a bunch of picks because they've received 6 compensatory third round picks for losing some big names to other teams in recent off seasons, like head coaches Robert Saleh and Mike McDaniel and general manager Martin Mayhew. McCaffrey is under contract through 2025, and he'll be making $11 million per year in 2022 and 2023, and then $12 million in 2025. He's got some very high cap hits too. $19 million in 2023 and 2024, and then $15 million in 2025. Luckily, his contract was restructured last year, so he only has a base salary of $1 million this season. The Panthers now have about $27 million in dead money on the books this season, but Carolina will now save over $1 million next season. I feel like the 49ers did give up a lot to get Christian McCaffrey, and I don't think I necessarily would have done the same thing. But I can also understand that San Francisco is going all in on trying to win a Super Bowl, and they believe that they can. This team is loaded, like seriously loaded. San Francisco should be considered a Super Bowl frontrunner. I mean, Jackson has said that the 49ers were his pick to win the Super Bowl this season, and I gotta say that isn't looking like a bad pick right now. This was supposed to be the year of Trey Lance, and finally getting to see what he's capable of. But of course, Lance went down with a pretty gruesome season-ending ankle injury in week 2. Luckily, the 49ers didn't end up trading away Jimmy Garoppolo and instead restructured his contract, a decision that quite literally saved their season. He's helped the Niners to 2 of the last 3 NFC championships, and I wouldn't be surprised if he can make it a 3rd this year. This team is stacked on the offensive side of the ball. Deebo Samuel got his bag this offseason, and he is, without a doubt, one of the best wide receivers in the league, or running backs, whichever you want to view him as. Across from him is Brandon Ayuk, and the number 3 is Jawan Jennings. At tight end, San Francisco has one of the best, George Kittle. Kyle Juszczyk is maybe the best fullback in the league, and on the offensive line, the 49ers have maybe the best player in football, Trent Williams. Now, add Christian McCaffrey to the fold. San Francisco is clearly trying to get some stability at the running back position, and it's hard to blame them. Jeff Wilson has been the guy as of late, and that was only after Elijah Mitchell went down. But the Niners just haven't been able to have a reliable rusher. In fact, Kyle Shanahan has had a different leading rusher in each of his first 5 years in San Francisco, and the Niners haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Frank Gore back in 2014. The 49ers have 5 players on their offense now that are one of the best at their position in all of football. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, and Trent Williams. It doesn't end there either. The Niners have one of the best defenses with some of the best players in football, like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Jimmy Ward. The trade maybe isn't the best for the Niners. I mean, they gave up a lot of picks for a guy that's been injured for most of the last 2 years, and it doesn't help that he's going to cost a lot of money for the next few seasons. But this is it for the 49ers. San Francisco is a potential Super Bowl team this year, and Christian McCaffrey only solidifies that. On the other side of the deal, it hasn't exactly been the best year for the Panthers, like at all. Carolina traded for Baker Mayfield from the Browns and tried him out, and it's been a constant quarterback carousel since Matt Rule got the job in 2020. Cam Newton was released ahead of the season, and Carolina decided to give a lot of money to Teddy Bridgewater. It was pretty clear that he wasn't the guy after the first year, and the Panthers ended up trading for Sam Darnold. Carolina started kind of hot under Darnold, 3-0, but then everything fell apart, and the Panthers won 2 of their last 14 games. They even tried bringing back Cam Newton at one point, and he went 0-5. Suddenly, Rule was on the hot seat. Carolina did make a run at Deshaun Watson, but didn't get him, then drafted Matt Corral, but he got hurt in the preseason. Baker was Rule's last hope, and it didn't go well in the slightest. When he's been on the field, Baker has been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. Carolina was 1-4 before firing Rule, and now they're 1-5. Once Matt Rule got fired, it seemed like the writing was on the wall to trade away McCaffrey. The Panthers are clearly going to have to rebuild and might as well trade away all their valuable assets to stockpile for the future. Carolina was apparently asking for 2 first-round picks, which would have just been the wildest deal if a team agreed to do that. Don't get me wrong, McCaffrey is a great player, but no running back is worth that. Besides, there are some big-time free agent running backs this offseason, like Saquon Barkley, Kareem Hunt, and Josh Jacobs, among others. During the offseason, the Panthers traded for Donta Foreman from the Titans. He was solid in Tennessee last season when Derrick Henry was out. He had over 500 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he's only had one other year in the pros with over 100 yards, and it was when he was a rookie in 2017 after Houston took him in the 3rd round. So far this year, Foreman has 37 yards on 12 carries. I have to imagine Foreman is going to start getting some more carries here, but he's definitely not the number one. That would be Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard has just 5 carries for 39 yards this year, but clearly Carolina drafted him for a reason. He was a 4th rounder in 2021 out of Oklahoma State, where he was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year in 2019. He played in every game as a rookie, starting in 10 games for the Panthers, and rushed for 612 yards and 5 touchdowns. He had a light role in the passing game too, 25 catches, 174 yards, and 1 touchdown. Already since Rule got fired, the Panthers now traded away Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson. In return, Carolina has gotten a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Almost an entire draft's worth of picks because of 2 players. It sucks to see a guy that was the face of a franchise like Christian McCaffrey get traded away, but it had to happen.